First of all, I am very much thankful and grateful to Dr. Shashi Tiwari, Madam, for to giving me this opportunity. I welcome to our chairperson and Shripad Bhakti Vignan Muni Maharaj. Please come on the dais. And I also welcome and call on the dais to Shripad, our speaker, Dr. Bhakti Nishkam Shanta Maharaj. Please come on the dais.
हाँ सर अभी अभी हमने बुलाया है अभी आपसे नंबर लिया था ना
I take privilege to introduce our chair of this session, Shri Bhakti Vignan Muni Maharaj. Shripad Muni Maharaj did his PhD in chemical engineering from IIT Kharagpur. And presently he is a serving president in the Sri Chaitanya Sanskrit Institute. And after his obtaining his PhD, he followed the desire of his spiritual master and he dedicated his life for some higher purpose.
वो भी आप भेज सकते हैं हिंदी में भी भेज सकते हैं उसको अनुवाद करा के
I welcome to and request to our first speaker and Shri Bhakti Nishkam Shanta Maharaj to present his presentation. And first I have to introduce him. Dr. Bhakti Nishkam Shanta Maharaj did his PhD in mechanical engineering from IIT Kharagpur, and he met his spiritual master in some international conference. And then he decided to dedicate his life for some higher purpose, and now he is with us and to give some more higher spiritual realization. Please.
ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिस्वरूपदामोदर स्वामिति नामिने। नमो सद्भक्तमने मणिपुरोद्भवाय च प्रभुपादलस्य च वाणी प्रचारनिरतायते। So I am very much thankful to the organizers of this event, Waves, Indian Waves. I am associated with Waves for last few years, both Indian and international Waves. So I am very much happy to meet all of you once again in this very interesting session of discussion that we are having. Started from inaugural session. So first I offered my prayers to all my gurus, because we get auspiciousness in this world, because this world is the world of ignorance, and until and unless some light comes from above, we don't know what is what. Like a child, if you don't give any training to the child don't know what to do, how to relate to the society. If you leave the child with just supply of some food mechanically and some medicines, the child will not be suitable even to live in this society. And to relate to the spiritual plane, certainly we need help from the higher world, the representative of that plane. So in this session, according to the theme of this conference, I am going to give a presentation on the Vaishnava conception. In Vaishnava conception, the ultimate spiritual goal is to get engaged in the service of the highest negativity, feminine potential. See, in general, we come across in the world there are four classes of people according to our Vedic scriptures. There are karmis, there are jnanis, there are yogis, and there are bhaktas, devotees. Karmis, jnanis, yogis, and devotees. So all have their own destination. Karmis, they are supposed to be eternally wandering in different, reactionary cycle of, karma. Which that this world is made for such souls who are entangled for time immemorial in the cycle of karmic reactions. They have no interest as such in higher spiritual realization, going beyond body and bodily relationships and the objects that are connected to the bodily, mundane senses, immediate biological needs. But if you go beyond the karmis, there are jnanis who have interest in spiritual advancement, spiritual upliftment, and that spiritual upliftment they want to attain by the process of intellectual endeavors, by their own intelligence, that I can know. They have the ego that I can know, and they want to know. They want to give interpretation towards the absolute. And we know ultimately such souls will realize the reality is something unknowable, and I have to merge into that, the realization of Brahman. That is the ultimate realization the jnanis attain. It is something unknowable by my finite intelligence, finite capacity, then I must merge into that existence, the realization of Brahman. And then the higher than that is yogis. Jnanis wants to know the absolute, but yogis wants to see the absolute. They are meditating. They want to know. They want to see the beautiful form, and they want to release that form. That's why they are searching that form in their heart. And such souls who are practicing that type of path, they will attain Paramatma realization. They will see the beautiful form of Paramatma. And then if you go further higher than that, the jnanis wants to know, yogis wants to see the absolute, but the bhaktas, the devotees, they want to serve the absolute. They have no interest of their own self. I want to know or I want to see. I only want to please the absolute, what he wants. I mean for him, what he wants. So there are different levels of, spiritual advancement. And among these jnanis, among these yogis, among these bhaktas, there are different degrees of, such kind of, realizations. There are classifications of that. You see our Vedic literature. So, the distinction I want to make to relate to our present context of today's, conference. See, when you say about the concept of jnanis, they have nothing like feminine or, the Purusha. Everything ultimately something, what you can say, formless, impersonal realization. There is no personality over there in the Brahman concepts. There is no personality over this. So they cannot talk about the variety that we are seeing in this world. The variety of, living entities, the varieties of, male, female, all these things, youth, old age, all these things, different variety that we see in this world. Black, white, different varieties. So that they cannot understand why this variety is existing. They cannot relate to that. So same thing we can find even in what you can say most modern science. If you go to modern science, I am from background of science, so I would like to say modern science also wants to reduce everything to something impersonal, that is matter, atoms and molecules. The reality is everything, what you can say, comes out somehow by chance. That's the theory of Big Bang theory, you might be knowing, and the theory of abiogenesis, you might be knowing. Something happens, and the what you can say diverse reality that we are seeing. From the existence of electron protons, I will go beyond quarks. Whatever, we don't know yet what is the fundamental particle that our universe made up of. Yet, if you go to the fundamental level, from those particles or waves, quantum mechanics talks about waves, somehow the diversity originated. They also don't know how things originate. Why you put those all particles, a marble you can say, together and it will produce something called water, something called, like a mountain, like a frog or a dog or a tree, all these things. From where this variety is coming? That's why our Vedanta Sutra specially emphasizes, first is Athata Brahma Jigyasa, then it says about Janmadasya, from where everything originated, how it is originated, the inquiry of that. So, in the conception of modern science, the materialists, you cannot find emphasis of feminine or male, all these concepts there in the concept of chemicals or the machine concept. And in impersonal, what you can say, Shankaracharya's philosophy also, you cannot relate to feminine or Purusa, all those things you cannot relate to in its truest sense. And if you come to yogis, they only see a form, definitely they see a form, that is Paramatma, but that is alone, Paramatma is alone. But when you come to the devotee, the Vaishnavism, there you find variety. There you find there is Lakshmi, and there is Narayan, and there are servitors. There are different Vaikuntha lokas, Narsinga loka, and there is Vamana loka. You find there are eternal existence of all these lokas. And it is being told, this world, material world, is a perverted reflection of that spiritual plane. Already those eternal lokas are there, or to Vrindavan, Ajodhya, Dwarka, all these lokas are there in the spiritual sky. And this material world is also a perverted reflection. You find different lokas here. Different degrees of exploitation, what represents this material world, and the spiritual world is different degrees of dedication, self-forgetfulness. So, Vaishnavism means the devotees, they don't worship Lord alone, they always worship Lord with the energy, feminine energy. They always worship Narayan with Lakshmi. They always worship Ram with Sita Devi. They always worship in Dwarka, Krishna with all different types of, pastimes with different wives. Their devotees worship there. Satyabhama Krishna, then Rukmani Krishna, all these different, varieties. And in Vrindavan, you find Radha Krishna. So Vaishnavas always worship, they don't approach Lord alone. They always approach Lord with a serving energy, feminine energy. And the word is mentioned as Aradhita, if you see Srimad Bhagavatam. Aradhita word also represents from Radharani, through whom Lord is worshipped. So Vaishnavism, it does not deny the variety. It does not annihilate the variety. Rather, it says that this variety that we are seeing in this world, it is only a perverted reflection of something real. If you see in a mirror, a bird is flying, and if you try to analyze like scientists, the mirror, how much and how you analyze, you cannot understand the bird from that mirror. You cannot understand it. That's what scientists are doing. And from our knowledge point of view, if you try to analyze that mirror, we cannot know it until and unless we relate to the world where bird is really existing. So we have to see from where that image is coming from. What is the type of world that is existing in the spiritual square, and how to approach that plane. That's what Vaishnavism discusses, and different 4 sampradayas are there in the age of Kali. Brahma, Sri, Rudra, Kumar, Acharyas are there, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarka. They are representation of Vaishnava philosophy in this age of Kali. So as I told, modern civilization tends to be about mechanical machines and not persons. We are trying to understand even life and everything in terms of impersonal machines. We are trying to, control life through DNA manipulation. Like genetic modifications you might be knowing, genetically modified food, genetically modified living entities. We want to understand life in terms of machine concept. There is some program is there, they call genetic code, there is neural codes, all these concepts are coming up. In modern science, you will not find any concept like, love, affection, anger, frustration, all these things, which is part of reality and life. Life represents all these aspects. So those aspects, we cannot find solution in modern educational system. Because modern educational system only emphasizes impersonal aspect of the reality. And present this conference, we are somehow discussing the personal aspect, feminine. It's not impersonal thing. We cannot discuss feminine in an impersonal concept. So, the concept of false elephant that we are constructing in the conception of metalist, as scientist, we want to understand reality to exploit it, or in the form of jnanis, those who wants to release the, what you can say, in subtle plane, they want to enjoy the subtle plane. Metallist, they want to enjoy the gross plane, and the jnanis, they want to enjoy the subtle plane. They want liberation, they want so many other desires are there. So in that conception, they want to impose their own ideas on reality. Because they don't know the whole thing, whole elephant. The reality we not seen. By our finite existence, we cannot understand the whole reality. We are finite. Finite can never grasp infinite. If you ask a mathematician, Professor Budev Sharma is here, you can ask him, if you add as many as finites, that will not produce infinite. It will always come up with a finite only. So finite, so many finites, adding up so much of finite knowledge, will never able to grasp the infinite. But that infinite is not infinite if it cannot reveal itself to finite. So infinite can reveal itself to finite when it is pleased with the finite, with proper attitude. That's what Vedic science is teaching about. If you see, today morning, one gentleman, the speaker was saying, in Gita, the attitude of the student is being mentioned. Tadvedde pranipatena pariprasnena sevya. So, the attitude is that we have to surrender to some teacher, pranipat, and not only just inquire from him, we offer our service to him. And honest inquiry, in a mood of pleasing him. That type of thing is there. So, attitude is very much emphasized. And Krishna also says in Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. It's not my words. Krishna says in Gita. The people cannot understand it. And Krishna also saying, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give the intelligence. Matte smriti jnanam apanam cha. From me it is coming. This knowledge and everything. But people think I can know. That ego is there. Because of that, they are not getting the proper attitude is not. So attitude is necessary. Not that we can produce reality the way we want. We are not the, what you can say, supreme subject. Even that plane, that's such a highest plane where even we are objects of that supreme person. We are thinking, I am the subject and in front of reality is there, that is all my objects. We are thinking like that. But in that plane, such a great plane, there even we are objects for that plane satisfaction. So what kind of attitude is necessary? That's why surrender is most important aspect being emphasized in Gita also and all our scriptures. Sarva dharman paritejya mamekam saranam braja. This Saranagati is being very much emphasized. So, see, objective science has its subjective element. The modern science wants to analyze everything in terms of objects, color, in the form of sound, in the form of smell. What's the sense objects that we can conceive from the mind? Different, kind of, experiences. But it is not trying to understand what is the connection between subject and object. What is that connection? And what is that subject? And if I am subject, there are many subjects. What is the relationship with all these subjects? What kind of relationship is there? This whole reality. What is the unity for this whole reality? How this whole world is related? So, we have to transcend from the plane of material existence to only on trying to understand, oh, somebody is male, somebody is female, somebody is a dog, somebody is bacteria. This type of understanding is egocentric understanding. Krishna, first secret of Gita, Krishna says, what is the knowledge? Dehino yasmi yatha dehe, komaram yavanam jarathatha dehantara prapti dehatatmame. First thing, you are not this body. Don't try to be so much egocentric that I am male or I am female or I am this or I am that. That's not your identity. First of all, this thing we have to understand. Not that we simply flown by the flowery language of Vedas. Traigunya Vishyam Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Says, go beyond this only knowledge that you are accumulating to exploit. And you have to know what is the goal of this knowledge, endless knowledge that I am gaining. What is the goal of that knowledge? That comes Vedanta. Vedanta talks about Rasavaisa, to release, to taste something higher. How we can go towards that. That type of things is necessary. So we have to transcend from material plane to self. Whether I am this body, whether I am this mind, that's what yogis try. Whether I am this intellect, no, going beyond. I am soul. But soul, so many souls are there. What is the identity of the soul? Soul by itself is not the identity. The identity comes from the origin, from where soul originated. And how the soul is related to that, and that relationship comes in Bhagavad Gita. Shaktivad is there. Shakti is feminine in Bhagavad Gita. Shaktivad is there. And you see in Bhagavad Gita 7.4 what Krishna is saying. Bhumya panala vayu kham mana buddhi revacha ahankara itya manne bhinna prakriti astra. He's saying earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my spiritual material energies. So Shakti means feminine. So the thing that you are observing in this material world, this is also feminine potency of the Lord. The things that you are observing in this. Matter is being classified in 24 elements. People say earth, water, fire, air, ether, all these classifications are in Sankhya philosophy. People go, they are classified. Senses, sense objects, subtle body, all these things are classified. But they are all feminine. Prakriti. Mayagdeksena prakriti svete charachara. And not only the matter is feminine, body also the jivas. In the next sloka of Gita, it is saying that besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So another Shakti also, Jivas also, Jiva Shakti is saying. Jivas also feminine. All the Jivas, irrespective of their having a male body or a female body. These are ego bodies. Because of our false ego, we are getting this body. The kind of ego that we are cultivating. Somebody is always thinking about female, they are becoming female next life. Somebody is always thinking about male, they are male next life. Somebody is always thinking about food, they are becoming pigs. So that food problem is solved. So what kind of focus you have, what kind of consciousness you are cultivating, you becoming that. And that is what is karmic cycle is all about. So what is your focus? What kind of thing you are focused on? So Gita is talking about the whole reality that you are observing. Everything is feminine. Only one enjoyer is there. Bhaktaram Jagyatapasa Sarvaloka Maheshwar. He's saying Maheshwar means is the enjoyer. He is the masculine that potency. He is the enjoyer, Purusha. Bhaktaram Jagyatapasa. Whatever you are doing, you are trying to work hard to earning money, I am the enjoyer of that. You are trying to gain some knowledge, austerity, you are doing, I am the enjoyer of that. And I am the master of all the lokas. Maybe you go to Indra Loka, Chandra Loka, so many lokas, Vaikuntha Lokas, Ajodhya Loka. I am the master, Sarva Loka Maheshwar. I am the Maheshwar, I am the enjoyer of all the lokas. So, there is Shakti and there is Shaktiman. And Shakti is meant to satisfy Shaktiman. Whose Shakti it is? And it means to satisfy the Shaktiman. But because of our minute freedom, all living entities, the difference between matter and life is freedom. Matter don't have freedom. If you leave a stone in the sky, you throw a stone. And science can calculate by law of mechanics where the stone will fall if you know the initial conditions. But if you release a living bird, you cannot predict where the bird will go after certain lapse of time or after passing certain time. Because bird has its own freedom. Every living entity has its freedom. And that minute freedom is necessary to cultivate your relationship with Absolute. A machine cannot love somebody. Can a robot love somebody? Can a machine love somebody? Machine, you cannot put the machine in the jail. If a artificial intelligence machine, it meets an accident, the machine will not be in the jail. Who will be in the jail? The designer or the owner will be in the jail. Because a free agent can only commit mistake or do good thing. A free agent is necessary. So Jiva, by its nature, it has freedom. But what is the use of that freedom? That minute freedom. We are eternal, Lord is also eternal. But we are dependent eternal. But Lord is Swarat, Abhigya Swarat. It is told in Bhagavatam, beginning sloka, it says Abhigya Swarat. He is the independent, eternal. But we are dependent eternal. Mahaprabhu Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being asked by Sanatana Goswami that who am I? Why I am suffering in this world? Then Mahaprabhu also told, Jivera Swarupa Krishnera Nityadas. Jiva by nature is eternal servant. But we forgetting that. And forgetting that, we are fighting. Now we need some respect for as a male, as a female, as a human. All these things we are looking. But our dignity is not there. as a male, as a female, or as a human, or as a dog, or a bacteria. Our dignity is there as a servant of the Absolute. We are finding dignity as a government servant. We are finding dignity as a private servant. But we are not seeing our real dignity is to become a servant of the divine. That we have forgotten. We have cultivated so many different masters in our life. We are anyway going to serve. Krishna says, if you don't serve me, you have to serve the Maya energy. You see the rich persons. They have everything, but yet they have to serve the dog. Evening they have to take the dog. Where dog has to pass urine, pass stool, they have to serve something. They have to serve. Why not to serve the highest? By serving which, you will overcome all your sorrows, all your difficulties. So, somehow, the illusion of impersonalism taken over on the name of Vedic, conception. Indian people are not impersonalists. You see Indian, all they are worshipping, some are worshipping Durga, some are worshipping Kali, some are worshipping Indra. Are they impersonals? No. But somehow this misconception of impersonalism has taken over to the intelligentsia of, modern time. But we have to look deep into our literature. And you will find in Gita, in Bhagavatam, even in Vedas, everywhere, three aspects are mentioned. All three aspects. Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Three aspects of the reality. Not to give overemphasis to only one aspect. That will be a reduction. You have to give emphasis to the whole revelation of the Vedic tradition. So Sunyavad means we have no existence. Every existence itself is illusion that Buddhism teaches. And a covered Buddhism that Lord Shiva propagated to remove Buddhism from this land of Bharat. He changed Buddhist from this land of Bharat. And Shiva himself says in Padma Puran, this is a covered Buddhism, the Mayavad that I have spread. You can see that there is a sloka I can refer where Shiva says that this is a covered Buddhism that I am teaching. But if you see even Shankaracharya's compositions, many of his compositions are personalist, except the Mayavad Bhasya. He has given Jagannath Ashtakam. If you see the Shankaracharya's compositions of glorification of Lord Nrsimhadev, you see all these personal prayers. But we are only giving one importance to one aspect of his, what you can say, Mayavad Bhasya. But you have to give the whole emphasis, what he told, Bhaja Govindam, Mudamate, so many things he has given. But people are so much driven by simplistic, reductionistic path, then we are, suffering that, illusionary existence. So, Vaishnavisms, you say that, Vaishnavisms, they are, what you can say, somehow, what you can say, thinking that, the dualistic, approach. No, in Vaishnavism also there is non-dualism, but that non-dualism is not impersonalism. There, everything is persons. The mountains, the dust, the air, everything is personal. In Vrindavan, Govardhan exhibited the pastime. If you go to this land, is very close to Vrindavan. If you go there, there is a village called Anuvargram. Why the name of that village become Anuvargram? These all gopis, when they offered bhoga to the Lord, and then Lord was so pleased by their devotion, the Govardhan, who is Krishna himself. Krishna wanted to reveal, Govardhan, I myself is Govardhan. And then Govardhan is saying, I am so pleased with your offering, bring more. Bring more. Then say, we have something left in our house, we are going and bringing. No need. Govardhan himself taken his big hands and taken all the food stuff from their house. See? So in that land, everything is chinmay. Everything is talking. The rice is talking, the land is talking, everything is talking. But here, something is matter, something is life, like we see like that. But that world, everything is transcendental. Everything is transcendental. So how to approach that plane? Also, we know in Vrindavan, there is a deity called Gopeswar. Lord Shiva himself wanted to get Lord's that relationship, absolute relationship, as a feminine. Lord Shiva wanted to get that gopi body. And he asked Parvati, hey Devi, make me like gopi. And I want to join Krishna's Raslila. And Shiva went to Lord Krishna's Raslila. And then Parvati told, you are going to Raslila by taking the form of a gopi, but have you cultivated the consciousness of a gopi? Anybody can dress like a policeman. Anybody can dress like a doctor. By dressing like that, if you become a doctor or a police, that will be very nice. But you cannot become. Just by making a dress. You can dress like a devotee. You can dress like a sadhu. You can dress like a spiritualist. That does not make any sense until and unless you have that consciousness. So Shiva told, okay, let me try. He went there, and then gopis asked, oh, who is your father? Who is your mother? From where you came? We are seeing newly. And then they started beating Shiva actually. He said, chastise. Then Krishna told, oh, please leave him. Shiva himself came there. So he told, Lord Krishna told to Shiva, in this age, in Dwapar Yuga, you will not get this what you are aspiring. You will be here as Dham Rakshak. You go to Vrindavan, there is Gopeshwar temple. You will be here as Gopeshwar, but next Yuga, when I come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then in that you will get entrance into my Sankirtan Ras. I will perform Sankirtan Ras, and in that you will get entrance. So Gopeshwar is there. You can see that first. And not only that, you see the importance of feminism in Vaishnavism. I will telling you, Krishna is the enjoyer, supreme enjoyer, and he is Madan Mohan. He is attracting everybody. Even the Kamdev is being attracted. Millions and millions of Kamdevs are being attracted, and that Krishna is being deluded or illusioned by Radharani. That's why Radharani's name is Madana Mohana Mohini. Her name is Madan Mohan Mohini. So the feminism is very much emphasized, and you see what happened here in this. In this photo, you see this is Krishna himself. If you go to Vrindavan, there is a place called Imlitala, and there once when Krishna was performing Ras Leela, then Radharani all of a sudden disappeared from the Ras Leela, because Krishna was giving emphasis to everybody as if Radharani is one among them. So Radharani disappeared from there, and the Krishna searching Radharani came to a favorite place of Radharani which is known as Tamarind tree. In Imlitala, it is very famous in Vrindavan, if you go there. And Krishna started meditating on Radharani's mood of devotion, dedication. And by meditating, his color became that of color of Srimati Radharani. He transformed his color into form of Gauranga. And then, when all these gopis came, and they told, what happened to Krishna? Why he assumed this form? Then Krishna says that this is the form I will be appearing in the age of Kali to glorify my devotee, Srimati Radharani, that how much dedication she has to me, and how much, self-forgetfulness she has. She only wants my satisfaction. What is the mood of Radharani? We are all going to Lord to ask, oh Lord, I am giving you coconut. Please give me this, give me that. And some are thinking, oh, somebody nice devotee, I want to be better devotee than that. But what is the mood of Radharani? If somebody can please Krishna, I want to be the servant of that devotee. I want to serve and assist that devotee. That is the mood. If somebody can please little bit Krishna, I want to assist that devotee. That's why the Lord himself wants to glorify. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written very nice song in our Sampradaya, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Radha bhajane jadi mati nahi bhela, Krishna bhajana tobe akarone kela. If your mind is not going towards Radha bhajan, your Krishna bhajan is waste. Those who are only worshipping Krishna, they are known as Krishna. But those who are worshipping Radharani, they are known as Gaudiya. We are not worshipping only Krishna. So Mahaprabhu came to glorify. So the yoga of dedication that is discussed in Bhakti Yoga in Gita, and if you go to higher and higher realization of this Bhakti Yoga, you can know all these things, how one has to approach the serving energy. Even Krishna dress, you see, in the form of Pitambar. The color of his dress is also that of color of Radharani, the golden color. Because Krishna is dark, you cannot see him. Only through his Shakti you can see. So Krishna cannot be revealed until unless you approach the serving energy. It's known as Haladini Shakti. Radharani is known as Haladini Shakti. So you have to approach to the pleasure potential of the Absolute to have any connection with the Absolute. So we have a very nice book on all these topics, Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. Dr. Sumangla has few copies of these books. If anybody likes, they can have this book written by our founder Acharya, Srila Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And you can learn these things. And this is my contact details. We are doing an international conference at IIT Madras coming this January only, 31st of January and 1st of February. The topic is ontological distinction between mechanical, chemical and biological systems. We are discussing how life is beyond machine and chemical concept. And you are all welcome. You can note my contact email. You are welcome to send your papers from Vedic perspective on this topic. What is the difference between machine concept and chemical concept, and the organic concept. Life is organic. Life is not mechanical. You cannot put DNA, RNA, enzymes all together in like a machine, nuts and bolts, and you can produce a cell. You cannot put together eye, leg, kidney, all those things, and you can make a body. Like a bicycle. Bicycle, I put all these parts together by nuts and bolts, I produce bicycle. But you cannot put together all the parts of the organism like a machine. Nor you can do some chemical reactions and produce the organism. In organism, where the eye will form, where the kidney will form, where and when it will form, all these things are very important thing. So Vedic thing discusses organic whole, Om Purnamidam. Whole comes from the whole. Cell comes from cell division, life comes from the life. This concept we are discussing. You are all welcome to send your articles, or you can write me an email. I can send you some literature and you can read and prepare article. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I am thankful for all of you. Hope that I did some humble service by my Guru's grace to all of you. Namaskar.